Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. It's Pamela Harambasic. She's a mortgage advisor, and you're with Perl Mortgage, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your background and you.
I grew up in Crest Hill, just next door, not too far from here from Naperville, and lived there until I went to Illinois State, where I graduated in 2002 and moved right to the city a few months later for my first mortgage job in the city, and I've been in the game ever since.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then since we relocated out of the city about 18 months ago, you know, I've been finding myself in these Naperville Mom Network groups, and it's been a really great community to be a part of. On top of it, I also joined the Chamber of Commerce last August.
Great.
It's been really nice networking and, you know, bouncing ideas off of people. And then I also do a lot of intramural type sports. I was playing volleyball for years, and then indoor, outdoor, and then I joined the Perl softball team, and I actually played all season. And sometimes I play co-ed with one of my brothers and Joliet, now that I'm closer. And then finally, my Mortgage Mom blog website, I just launched in July of last year. So it's been a really exciting couple years.
So tell me about that Mortgage Mom. That fascinates me. I think it's a great name.
Thank you. It started more along the lines of I was trying to figure out how to reinvent myself. I'm always wanting to be evolving and staying fresh. There's a lot of loan officers that you could pick to work with, and I was thinking that I needed to start rebranding myself a little bit. I had more to offer than just quoting interest rates, and so it started as something as simple as wanting to be on Instagram for social media, and I wasn't really marketing myself at all. And so 2 years ago, I started texting my cousins that were younger and asking them for clever hashtags to use, and it just morphed into this Mortgage Mom. And then I started looking for websites with that name, and I went through GoDaddy last summer and just launched the website mortgagemom.biz.
I think it makes you more approachable. I think people are often a little scared when they're going out for a mortgage, and so that's more approachable. Tell me how the industry has changed so much. It's a different game than it used to be. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It is. I mean, the credit industry, when I joined in 2002, was all you needed pretty much was a heartbeat, and you could get a mortgage, you know. But after, you know, the bubble burst in 2008, all these bad loans that were sold and closed, you know, never performed, and banks and people lost a lot. They lost their homes, people didn't have jobs, and so credit has changed a lot. And you still have opportunities to get, you know, a mortgage now with different programs. It took a while for, you know, so after the bubble burst, we had, you know, really strict guidelines, and then over time, you know, that stuff starts to relax again, but we're still using well-documented loans, you know. Another thing that's changed is the down payment type programs. You know, they require a minimum cash investment from a borrower to use a program like that. And I think when someone has some skin in the game, you're, especially where you're laying your head, you're not going to walk away as easily if you can prevent it. Fraud is on the rise. So, you know, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but, you know, all the ways you're submitting your paperwork, what kind of lender you're working with, if you're uploading it, if you're emailing it, you know, but fraud is on the rise. They're not just taking your paperwork, but they're trying to steal your money that you're wiring before you're closing. Wow. So you really need, you know, to work with your loan officer very closely on how to keep your down payment safe so it doesn't go missing. And finally, I really miss meeting my clients face to face. You know, the generations after me are really on Yelp reviews finding people, and they're okay if they never meet you. I've been really trying to encourage my first-time home buyers especially, meet who you want to work with and who you're going to do business with. I think you need to get a good read on that, how this whole transaction's going to work.
What do you think, or what tip would you give? What is the most important thing that we need to look for when we're thinking of choosing a loan officer or a lender like yourself?
Yeah, I think it's really important when you're selecting a loan officer that it's someone you feel comfortable with. And I don't know what your comfort level threshold is, but I think if you meet the person, especially, you're going to get a really good idea of how they are as a lender, if you feel comfortable sharing with them, because remember, you're sharing really personal details of your income and your assets, which you generally don't even share with your closest family members in a lot of cases. So you're going to be giving me bank statements and tax returns, and I think trust is important. The second component of that is a loan officer that's going to set your expectations up front. So my clients know their cash to close on a purchase price before they even set foot in their first house to go look at. The reason I think that's important is, you can be perusing online. A lot of people just like to click on Zillow or Redfin and start looking at stuff for sale. And these online calculators are great, but they're not exactly finite, and they don't include all the third-party expenses that go into a transaction. So closing costs on top of your down payment is something that needs to be well documented up front. And I definitely prepare my clients with a spreadsheet up front, so they know exactly what to expect.
Well, I think I agree with you 100%. It's a very intimate process. It's a very stressful process. This is usually the biggest thing you ever buy in your life is your home.
Yeah, and I always coin myself as their quarterback. So for me, I'm calling all the plays. I'm making sure all the parts are happening. I'm like the puppet master behind the scenes. While I do take a lot of paperwork, I look at every single thing someone sends me, make sure it's correct, have it uploaded, we get it cleared, but there's a lot of moving parts, and I try to take, a lot of that stress off my client. Once you submit most of the paperwork I ask up front for pre-approvals, so then you don't have as much to get down the road. When you're looking at starting the process, generally a lot of people have that stuff together already. So, I'd rather just take it up front and then let you submit reduced documentation as time goes on. That way, the deal can move a little faster. If you're in a multiple offer situation and the seller wants a 30-day, we're already halfway there.
That's awesome. So what's the future for a mortgage mom?
I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I'm writing that chapter every day. Since it's new, I just launched it last summer. I'm using it for a platform for education. I used to do a lot of financial education in the Chicago public schools when I lived there. From first grade through Lane Tech High School, I did, classes, just little informative sessions for seniors that were trying to navigate their next chapter, whether it was student loans, if they wanted to go to technical school, and how they navigate the student loan process and how important credit really is. The second component is I really like to look into, partnering with other women for some empowerment in terms of financial education for families. I think it's important that, all households, the parties and the adults know, what happens in the event of an emergency. It's like preparing for a fire drill. And finally, I'm still going to be using the blog for mortgage pieces and mortgage information, but I'm definitely starting to introduce it to small business and do a small business spotlight, and definitely some more mom posts. I think I did my first one just in December, and then I left it off that I would do my second post on self-care, because generally, when you have a family, or you're so busy with your work schedule that oftentimes you're not really taking care of yourself, and that self-care is different for everybody. So I think I'm going to just navigate it and see where it goes, and I'm excited about it, actually.
I think you should, because I think Mortgage Mom is a great idea. I think it empowers women who are this dual incomes now, so they are 50% of it, so they need to be empowered with mortgage and just with financial literacy across everybody. We need to understand a little bit more where all our money goes.
Absolutely. It's important.
It is super important. So thanks so much for stopping by and sharing a little bit about it. We're so excited for the Mortgage Mom, and we're so excited for what you do, and thank you for what you do and how well you do it.
Thank you for your time. I'm really happy to be here.
You're welcome. And we're going to be right back with more Business Connection. Stay tuned.